Companies that work with Sweet Baby Inc. continue to suffer the consequences. The latest is Avalanche Studios. The company announced it is shutting down 2 of its locations and laying off nearly 10% of its entire workforce. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. This is the statement from Avalanche Studios announcing that they are closing their locations in New York and Montreal and laying off what they're saying is roughly 9% of their entire workforce. It reads this: since its inception over 2 decades ago, Avalanche Studios Group has grown to encompass 5 locations worldwide: Stockholm, New York, Malmo, Liverpool, and Montreal. Today, we regretfully announce the closure of 2 of those locations, New York and Montreal. This means we'll be parting ways with around 50 valued friends and colleagues, which represents roughly 9% of Avalanchers worldwide. This is an exceptionally difficult decision, but we believe it's necessary to ensure a stable and sustainable future for the company. Our focus is now on supporting all Avalanchers through this challenging time. We're grateful for the invaluable contributions of those leaving and remain committed to creating incredible gaming experiences for our players. So it's interesting that they're shutting down the ones here in North America, New York and Montreal. They're keeping the ones in Europe going: Stockholm, Malmo, and Liverpool. We do know that Sweet Baby Inc. lists Avalanche Studios Group as one of its clients on its website. You can see it right there in the middle, right underneath Co-op and above Echo, in between Change Agency and Deck 9. The company also listed Avalanche Studios' upcoming game Contraband as one of the projects it worked on. Specifically, the company revealed it did sensitivity reading, character bios, and script writing for their game. You can see that right there. They have since removed it from their website, but there is an archive link, and I took a screenshot of that, so you can see that right there. And this is not the first game to suffer the consequences of working with Sweet Baby Inc. Now, obviously, this game has not come out yet. And we know that there is contraction within the video game industry, mainly due to, I think, a lot of video game players not buying into the woke ideology that companies like Sweet Baby Inc. are pushing, as well as a number of the AAA video game developers, Sony, Xbox, etc., that they have been pushing. I think people are sick and tired of that stuff, and a lot of people just aren't buying it anymore. So we've seen a number of companies that have hired Sweet Baby Inc. They've either shut down, they're seeing poor sales, or they're unable to have their games break even. First off, we had this in August 2023. Mimimi Games announced that they shut down following the release of Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew. Sweet Baby Inc. actually announced that they were shutting down. In a post here to LinkedIn, it reads, "We are saddened to learn that Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew is Mimimi's last game. We're incredibly proud to have helped bring this final voyage to shore by collaborating on the game's protagonist, Afia, with Matthias, Kraut, Moritz Wagner, and the rest of the crew at Mimimi Games GmbH. Our collaboration helped make the world of the Cursed Caribbean feel more inclusive and representative. Very happy to see that players have resonated the game, as evidenced by its incredible reception. The Mimimi team is amazing and deserves to land on their feet. We would be happy to connect folks in our network who are looking for talented developers with the studio. Send us a DM if you're interested." Interestingly enough, it didn't do as well as what Sweet Baby Inc. is saying, because we have this statement from the founders of Mimimi Games, Dominic Abe and Johannes Roth. They announced this in a blog post. "It is with a heavy heart that today we have to share the news that Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew will be Mimimi's final game. As we look back at our 15-year journey, crafting games and crying about it, we feel grateful for the incredible love and support we received from all of you. We cherished every game we made and feel proud of what we were able to accomplish as a studio. At the same time, dedicating the past decade and a half of our lives working on increasingly ambitious games took a heavy personal toll on us and our families. After the release of Shadow Gambit, we decided it was the right time to prioritize our well-being and to pull the brakes instead of signing up for another multi-year production cycle." Now, you might think they're just doing it for personal reasons. However, they indicate that it has a lot to do with the finances as well. Making these games was amazing and extremely taxing. At the same time, reaching the level of quality Mimimi strives for is hard and requires focus and dedication. We also have to acknowledge that our future production costs are growing faster than potential revenues of our genre. So there you go. Production costs growing faster than revenues. The increased financial pressure and level of risk became unsustainable. Additionally, whenever our games got close to release and were finally fun to play, a new fight for funding of the following projects started, making this a continuous cycle. As founders and directors, we found it increasingly difficult to strike a balance between fulfilling internal expectations for the studio and being available for our young families. Meeting our goals of quality, company culture, and management requires a constant level of energy that we simply can't provide anymore. Ramping down the company and making Shadow Gambit our final game is an extremely tough decision. We never expected this would be how MME ends, but if even one of us were to break down, fail, or burn out, the situation would escalate quickly. Ultimately, managing a production of this scale in combination with an extremely competitive market proved to be too taxing for us. In light of all of the above, we decided to pull the brakes. So there you go. They're announcing that their costs were exceeding their revenues, and they were also obviously facing some burnout there. But Sweet Baby Inc. client shutting down. We also have Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake 2 not being able to recoup its initial budget. In the most recent business review for the company for January to March 2024, this is what Remedy shared. In February 2024, Remedy announced that Alan Wake 2 had sold 1.3 million units as of the beginning of February. Alan Wake 2 sales have continued with a high average price. At the end of the first quarter, the game had recouped a significant part of the development and marketing expenses. So it's saying here, significant part does not mean it has recouped all. So it's still in the red. It is not in the black. It is not broken even yet. Another game that Sweet Baby Inc. Consulted on. It even says here, during the first quarter, the team focused on working on the downloadable content that will extend Alan Wake 2. So they're hoping that players, I guess, will come back to the game and purchase this DLC and increase revenue there. They also shared that it does plan to attempt to generate royalty revenue from the game, but has not done so yet. I'm guessing they're trying to basically get their characters in other games or something like that. We also have Tales of Kinzera Zao, just came out at the end of April. Obviously, peak player base on Steam concurrent was 287. It obviously has gone down ever since. It even dipped to just 19 on May 30th. In the past 24 hours, the peak was 26. So this was after the game's director, Abu Bakr Salim, posted a video on May 31st, basically claiming that he's a victim of harassment and that's why his game is sucking. And then he also announced that he would be dropping the price from $19.99 to $14.99, cutting it by 25%. We also have sales estimates are in the range between 11,800 and 14,900. As I said, he has tried to address this claim that the sales are bad based on the player base from SteamDB being absolutely terrible. First, he addressed this on Reddit, and he says, "We did good, though. It helps being on multiple platforms. It's all about longevity and continuing forward. The more people share and talk about the game, the more it snowballs. So yeah, we hope to continue building." Again, no actual evidence here of what the sales numbers are. And then on X, he's trying to basically debunk what people are saying about the game. And he says here that the game isn't selling well, and he's trying to debunk this. And he says also false. I've addressed this on an AMA on Reddit, which we just went over, which he doesn't address it at all. He doesn't provide any sales data whatsoever. He doesn't refute the actual player base. He doesn't provide any information from what the player base is on other platforms such as Nintendo, Switch, etc. He just doesn't provide any information. So he hasn't addressed it at all. And in my opinion, he's just straight up lying and trying to deflect and hoping people won't actually ask any questions about this. But he goes on and says the numbers, some are circulating are a fraction of our actual playership, and they're being shared in bad faith by people who are wanting to provide proof that their harassment campaign has been successful in punishing us for daring to take up space. So he's literally playing victim here, claiming he's being harassed when no one literally bought his game. And it's clearly a failure based on the data that we have in front of us and the fact that he's refusing to share any data, because I've asked him multiple times and he hasn't done it. And then obviously we have the biggest failure here that the Sweet Baby Inc. has racked up, which is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. The game performed so abysmally terrible that Warner Brothers Discovery had taken a $200 million impairment charge on the game. We had the company's chief financial officer, Gunnar Wiedenfels, saying this: starting with studios, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline during Q1 was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter, in conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this past quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to EBITDA during the first quarter. Massive, massive failure for this game that was heavily influenced by Sweet Baby Inc. In fact, a number of the people who worked on the game joined Sweet Baby Inc. after doing so, became Sweet Baby Inc. employees. So huge L here. And there's likely going to be a lot more as we see more games that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on coming to places like Steam, being released in the future, like this upcoming game, Contraband from Avalanche Studios, likely going to be a loser just based on the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on it. And obviously here you can see player base for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League completely fell off a cliff. It peaked at 13,459 when it first released, and now it's just at 400 in the last 24 hours. So utter disaster for this game as well. But that's the latest news. Sweet Baby Inc. If a company is hiring Sweet Baby Inc., they are not doing well. Avalanche Studios, the latest example, shutting down 2 of its offices in New York and Montreal and laying off what they're saying is roughly 9% of their workforce. Round up, it's about probably 10%. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of another company that has worked with Sweet Baby Inc. suffering financially, having to shut down their offices, lay off their employees? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.